Something just happened to Sheryl Swoopes that changes everything for Caitlin Clark and the WNBA. After years of targeting the league's biggest star with false narratives and public feuds, Swoopes is facing consequences that mirror what happened to her at Loyola University in 2016. She's fired again. The details are shocking, and they reveal a pattern of behavior that finally caught up with her. What the WNBA just did will surprise you, but when you hear the full story, you'll understand why it was inevitable. Let me know down in the comments below if you think Swoopes deserves to be fired.
She got fired, but it looked like you got fired, bro. It looked like she got fired. I just gotta keep it real. It looked like she got fired.
Here's what most people don't know about Sheryl Swoopes. This firing wasn't her first rodeo when it comes to facing consequences for questionable behavior. Back in 2016, Loyola University Chicago found themselves dealing with a coaching situation that was spiraling completely out of control. Serious complaints about their women's basketball coach started piling up from multiple players, and the athletic department had no choice but to launch a full investigation.
Loyola University basketball coach Sheryl Swoopes, she's under investigation, accused of mistreating players.
The college coach is not only under fire, but under investigation after reports that the majority of her roster has decided to leave.
The investigation uncovered a coaching style that went way beyond being tough or demanding. Players described an environment where Swoopes would cry during halftime speeches and practices, desperately begging the team to play better. She'd storm out of practice sessions when things didn't go her way, and in one memorable incident, she sat in complete silence for an entire practice.
Just because you are a great player doesn't make you a great coach.
Former Loyola basketball player Kate Sohn says Swoopes caused the players to live in fear, that she routinely threatened that they would lose their scholarships or she would cut them from the team.
It made it hard to play. It wasn't about working hard and having fun anymore. It was about surviving.
But the emotional volatility was only part of the problem. Players reported that Swoopes frequently threatened to take away scholarships and would share personal information that players had confided in her with other teammates. The situation with former player Lauren Hibbard became particularly damaging when Swoopes allegedly pressured her to sign a medical hardship form after knee injuries, promising her a team manager role and travel opportunities that never materialized. Athletic director Steve Watson had seen enough. In July 2016, he officially terminated Swoopes' contract, announcing that Sheryl Swoopes is no longer serving as the women's basketball coach at Loyola University Chicago. The investigation confirmed the mistreatment allegations, and while they didn't find evidence of physical abuse or NCAA violations, the university decided her behavior crossed the line.
It made it hard to play. It wasn't about working hard and having fun anymore. It was about surviving.
Former player Kate Sohn summed up the disconnect perfectly when she said, "She was the Michael Jordan of women's basketball. She didn't know how to teach." Here was a legendary player who couldn't figure out how to mentor the next generation without creating drama and toxicity.
That she mistreated players.
It was the environment she had created. I was belittled, humiliated, made to feel extremely small.
Head coach since 2013. Last year, 5 of her players reportedly transferred to different programs. And this year, a reported 10 of the team's 12 players aren't planning on coming back.
But here's where the Loyola story becomes relevant to what happened in 2024 and 2025. The same behavioral patterns that got Swoopes fired from college coaching started showing up again when she moved into broadcasting. Instead of targeting college players behind closed doors, she set her sights on the WNBA's biggest rising star. And this time, millions of fans were watching. The parallels are striking. The public humiliation tactics she used on Loyola players translated perfectly to her treatment of Caitlin Clark on national television. The threats about scholarships became false narratives about Clark's achievements. The sharing of personal information became spreading misinformation about Clark's college career.
Telling ABC News, anytime there are allegations of student-athlete mistreatment, it is more than concerning. The welfare of our student-athletes is paramount.
Sohn says there was such a hostile environment, players were turning on each other, and the mistrust was throughout the entire athletic department.
The Loyola firing should have been a wake-up call, but Swoopes apparently learned nothing from losing that job. She took the same approach that destroyed her coaching career and applied it to her broadcasting role. The only difference was that this time, she picked a target who had millions of passionate fans ready to defend her. What Swoopes did to Caitlin Clark was nothing short of a targeted harassment campaign disguised as basketball commentary. While the entire basketball world was celebrating Clark's record-breaking college career and her explosive entrance into the WNBA, Swoopes was busy spreading false narratives about her achievements on every platform she could find.
Caitlin Clark right now probably takes about 40 shots a game.
Here we go.
I know you like that.
Hell yeah.
I said that because when she comes to the league, regardless of what team she goes to that has vets on that team, she probably ain't gonna get 40 shots a game.
The lies started early, and they were basic mistakes that any credible analyst would catch before speaking. Swoopes claimed Clark needed 5 years to break the NCAA scoring record when Clark actually did it in 4 seasons. She said Clark was taking about 40 shots a game, when Clark actually averaged 22.7 shots per game, only slightly higher than Swoopes' own senior year average of 19.2 shots per game. These weren't minor statistical errors. They were completely fabricated numbers designed to make Clark look selfish and undeserving. The attacks escalated when Swoopes questioned the legitimacy of Clark's NCAA scoring record during an appearance on Gil's Arena. She explicitly stated that Clark's record wasn't legitimate because she was supposedly a fifth-year senior who benefited from extra eligibility rules. Swoopes declared, "So, is it truly a broken record? I don't know. I don't think so. But yeah, that'll go in the record books, and I don't think it should be." This was pure fiction. Clark achieved the record in the same 4-year time frame as previous record holder Kelsey Plum.
You asked me about Caitlin. If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player set it.
Okay.
Right? So if Kelsey Plum set that record in 4 years, well, Caitlin should have broke that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year, and then there's another year, you know what I mean? So she's already had an extra year to break that record. So is it truly a broken record?
Her commentary became so biased that major media figures started calling her out publicly. Stephen A. Smith went after Swoopes on national television, calling her behavior insane for deliberately leaving Clark's name out of conversations about the Indiana Fever's success. During an August 2024 episode of her Queens of the Court podcast, Swoopes discussed the Fever's improved performance, but only mentioned Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hull, and Kelsey Mitchell, completely ignoring the player who was driving their success.
You know basketball. You know basketball better than me. You know basketball than any of the pundits. You know basketball better than most of the men that play basketball. There is no way in hell you just accidentally left Caitlin Clark's name out of that soliloquy that you dropped about the Indiana Fever. Stop it. You know that. Stop it.
Then Nancy Lieberman stepped in to defend Clark and challenge Swoopes' credibility directly. Lieberman reached out to Swoopes to correct the false statistics, emphasizing that facts matter. According to Lieberman, Swoopes reacted with anger during their conversation, which destroyed their relationship. Lieberman later stated, "Our relationship pretty much is not happening at this point.
I've known Sheryl since she was in college. I helped do her shoe deal with Nike in 1993, took her to her first ESPYs. I've known Sheryl, I've coached her, have a lot of respect for her. I called her when Caitlin was still playing at Iowa and she had just broken Maravich's record. And it was all over the place, as you and I have discussed, that there was this quote by Sheryl that said, Caitlin was, 25 years old. She was, 24 years old. She was a fifth-year senior. Right. She was taking 40 shots a game. Her records were illegitimate.
The public feuds with these respected figures exposed Swoopes as someone more interested in tearing down rising stars than celebrating the growth of women's basketball. Each false statement and petty attack made it obvious that her commentary wasn't about basketball analysis. It was personal vendetta disguised as expert opinion. Fans weren't having it either. Iowa supporters started wearing "Don't Be a Sheryl" t-shirts to games as direct protest against her bias. Social media exploded with criticism every time she opened her mouth about Clark.
That's what Nancy was all about. She was keeping it very, hey, let's bring this women's game let's bring it all together. Let's grow this thing together. And the question was talking about how older people or older players in the league pretty much are going about what's going on in the league. And Nancy knows Caitlin Clark is the biggest. She's got the eyes. She's got the fans. let's not try to sink it. Let's try to get on the boat with her and let's grow the game.
Swoopes had turned herself into the villain in Caitlin Clark's success story, and everyone could see it except her. The basketball community was getting fed up with watching a Hall of Famer embarrass herself on national television every time Clark's name came up. When the WNBA finally took action against Swoopes, they didn't just remove her from Fever games, they pulled her from everything. The Dallas Wings announced their broadcast team, and Swoopes was nowhere to be found. She got completely erased from the entire broadcast schedule across the league. This wasn't about one team or one player anymore. The WNBA made a league-wide decision to distance themselves from her commentary.
God, see, they ain't got Sheryl no more. Sheryl's gone. Sheryl's gone. Nancy still got her job, though. Nancy still got her job. They got Sheryl built. They got Sheryl built. See? Sheryl was there last year. She ain't there no more.
The league quietly started replacing Swoopes across their entire broadcast schedule, not just the high-profile matchups involving Clark. Teams began announcing their broadcasting lineups for the new season, and Swoopes' name kept getting left off the list. Her commentary spots vanished one by one until she had nothing left. The blackout was complete and systematic. Nancy Lieberman, the same legend who had publicly disagreed with Swoopies over the Clark criticism, ended up keeping her spot on the Dallas Wings broadcast team. The irony was perfect. A respected analyst who actually supported rising talent stayed in her role while someone who seemed determined to tear down stars got shown the door. Lieberman had defended Clark when it mattered, and now she was the one with a job while Swoopes watched from the sidelines.
It looks like the Dallas Wings have left off Mrs. Sheryl Swoopes on the broadcasting team for the 2025 season. If you guys remember, Sheryl Swoopes, she was on the broadcasting team last year, right?
But here's where Swoopes' panic really started to show. She suddenly appeared on ESPN praising Clark and the Indiana Fever after months of relentless criticism. Swoopes told ESPN, "This Indiana Fever team, they have put the pieces together in this offseason, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do." She highlighted Clark's development and the Fever's strategic moves, calling them legitimate championship contenders.
The team that I feel made the biggest moves, maybe even the best moves, that would be the Indiana Fever. I think the Indiana Fever went from just being in the playoffs last season to potentially winning a championship. How much stronger Caitlin got in the offseason. You know, she was in the gym working on her game. This Indiana Fever team, they have put the pieces together in this offseason, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do.
The complete 180-degree turn was so obvious that fans immediately saw through it as desperate damage control. Social media exploded with reactions mocking Swoopies for completely changing her tune. Fans posted comments like, "Oh, how she is changing her tune now," and "Is Swoopes okay? She said something nice about CC instead of bashing with a lie." The timing couldn't have been more transparent. Right after facing professional consequences, she magically discovered Clark's talent and the Fever's potential. After spending an entire year spreading false narratives about Clark's achievements, Swoopes was now praising the same player she had tried to tear down. The desperation was visible to everyone watching.
I kept on saying it. I said, Sheryl Swoopes, you are going to find yourself out of the media so fast by how you're, by how you're moving, how you're talking on other players, talking on other people's podcasts.
Stephen A. Smith had even speculated publicly that Swoopes' personal animosity toward Clark was the reason for her removal from specific Wings Fever games, suggesting her biases had made her a broadcasting liability. Her controversial takes had finally caught up with her in the worst possible way. Swoopes went from being the WNBA's most controversial voice to being completely sidelined, while the analyst who defended Clark got to keep working. The league sent a clear message that targeting their biggest stars with false narratives wouldn't be tolerated anymore. The woman who built her broadcasting reputation on tearing down Caitlin Clark was now desperately trying to praise her way back into relevance. While Swoopes was busy destroying her own credibility, the Indiana Fever were quietly building something special around Caitlin Clark. The front office made moves that turned this young core into legitimate championship contenders.
The Indiana Fever are that golden destination, and I can't help but laugh to the fans and the people online and the media commentators, unfortunately, who said that nobody wanted to play in Indiana. That doesn't make any sense.
Aaliyah Boston's interior presence combined with Clark's playmaking creates matchup problems that most WNBA teams simply can't solve. Boston has developed the ability to anticipate Clark's passes, and their pick-and-roll game has become nearly unstoppable. The trust and collaboration between these two players gives Indiana a foundation that championship teams are built on. Add in Kelsey Mitchell's consistent scoring ability, Sophie Cunningham's red-hot shooting, and Lexi Hull's defensive versatility, and you've got a roster constructed for deep playoff runs. Mitchell provides the reliable second scoring option that takes pressure off Clark, while Cunningham and Hull can guard multiple positions and switch on defense. The chemistry between these core players has been developing for 2 seasons, and now they're poised to make a run at the championship.
Caitlin Clark is the GOAT!
She signed my jersey! I'm so happy, I'm crying, I'm so happy. This is the best day ever.
Caitlin Clark effect seems to be crazier than year one.
I love watching her score and just everything about her.
They went the extra mile just to watch her play here.
This is great news for women's basketball, period.
She just brings so much passion to the game, and look at all these people that just want to come and see her.
It is no secret that the Indiana Fever are the most popular team in the WNBA. It is good for the entire WNBA.
The same Caitlin Clark that Swoopes spent a year trying to diminish is now being recognized as a transformative force for the entire league. Clark's development exceeded every expectation, and she's entering her 3rd season with championship-level talent surrounding her. The defensive attention she commands opens up scoring opportunities for teammates, while her court vision creates easy baskets that didn't exist before. The 2024 and 2025 playoff experiences taught this team valuable lessons about competing against veteran playoff teams. Aaliyah Boston reflected that they were very close to advancing and learned about the small margin of error in postseason basketball. That close call instilled determination to not just make the playoffs but to contend for championships.
We went from the locker room is in shambles, players want to leave, it's a toxic environment, nobody wants to be there, the fans are terrible, to, I don't know, I wasn't even in the locker room, to the OGs that they brought in, the OGs that said, I want to come play over there.
The Fever are positioned to prove that all of Swoopes' criticism was completely wrong in the most definitive way possible, by winning a championship. While Swoopes watches from the sidelines, Clark and the Fever are ready to show the basketball world what they're really capable of achieving with veteran leadership and championship-caliber talent. Sheryl Swoopes' downfall proves that the WNBA is moving toward a new era where biased commentary and personal vendettas have no place. The league finally took action against voices that were actively harming their biggest stars and most exciting storylines. The Caitlin Clark effect isn't just changing how people watch women's basketball, it's cleaning house of the people who tried to hold the sport back with false narratives and petty criticism. The real winners here are the fans who get to watch Clark, Boston, Mitchell, Cunningham, and Hull and the Fever chase a championship without listening to someone tear them down every step of the way. Let me know down in the comments below if you think Swoopes deserves to be fired. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.